Hey guys, it's Sarah from She's Crafty and She Knows It, and today I'm going to show you how to make these super cute little shaker bookmarks. So these are totally customizable. You can obviously use whatever colors you want. You can personalize them and put someone's name on them, or you could put a cute little phrase, something seasonal, or even an inside joke that you have with a friend. You can put a little trinket inside, or even photographs. So this is a super easy craft that is really fun to make. I think these bookmarks turned out really cute and they're really professional looking. They would make a great gift for just about anyone. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Okay, so to make these little shaker bookmarks, I'm going to be using this awesome little fuse tool. This tool comes with two tips. One is a fuse tip and one is a cutting tip. We will be using the fuse tip today, and don't worry, I will link all the supplies that I use in the description of this video. So before I plug it in, I'm going to insert the tip, and this tip just screws right in. So definitely do this before you turn the fuse tool on, before you plug it in, because the tool does get hot. If for some reason you want to change the tips while it's plugged in and hot, you can use some needle nose pliers to change the tips. Just make sure you don't touch the tips with your fingers while the tool is hot because the tips will burn you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and plug in the fuse tool right now. It takes about 10 minutes to fully heat up, so we're going to let it sit here and heat up while we start on the bookmarks. So for these bookmarks, I'm going to use scrapbook paper and I'm going to personalize them by stamping my daughter's names on each of the bookmarks. I already asked them what scrapbook paper and sequins they want so that I know they turn out exactly the way they want them. I want these bookmarks to be about 2 by 6 inches, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the paper down to that size. Okay, so there's my little 2 by 6 inch rectangle. Now I'm going to use my stamps and acrylic blocks to stamp one of my daughter's names on the bookmark. These are the same stamps I used in my hand stamp book stack tutorial, so if you have all of those supplies from that tutorial, you are good to go. I really love using clear stamps with the acrylic blocks because you can really ensure that you're stamping things straight and exactly the way you want it. So I use there's like a little grid on the acrylic blocks with little lines on it. I use that line to make sure I'm lining up the names perfectly. So I just put the bottom of each little letter right on that line and make sure that everything looks straight. So I'm telling you guys, these are so much easier to use than the wood stamps because you can really make sure things are perfect and you can see where you're stamping things. Okay, so at the top of this bookmark, you're going to have an eyelet for the tassel to hang from. So when I stamp the name, I'm going to stamp it a tad off center, so just a little bit more towards the bottom. So that way it's centered kind of between the tassel and the bottom, which I think will make it look a little bit better to the naked eye. Okay, so now we're going to get 2 fuse sheets and we're going to put the scrapbook paper at the corner of the fuse sheets between the 2 sheets. Line it up the best that you can. Leave a little bit of extra space around the paper so that you have room to fuse the plastic sheets together. Now I have a special little fuse mat underneath the plastic sheets so that I don't mess up the table. So you will need some kind of mat under the sheets so that you don't burn whatever surface you're working on. This fuse tool comes with this little ruler that you can fuse with. It helps you kind of fuse in a straight line. Of course, you can do it freehand if you want to. So I'm going to use the grid of this mat to make sure I line everything up perfectly. So I'm putting the line of the fuse ruler over the line of the grid on the mat so that I know I'm doing it straight. So when you use this tool, you can roll the fuse tool down or up, just whatever feels more comfortable to you. I recommend you practice on a few scrap pieces of plastic sheet so that you get used to it. If you can tell it didn't fuse all the way, just go ahead and do it again. Now you don't want to push too hard or stay in one spot too long because the fuse tool will burn the plastic and eventually make a little hole in it or cut it. So just keep the tip rolling slowly as you do it. I like the ruler because it helps me make things straight. I can do straight lines with it. But if you're fusing around scrapbook paper or a picture, sometimes it's just easier to do it freehand next to the paper, but it's totally up to you. Now remember, you want to fuse it on 3 sides, leaving one side open to add your glitter and sequins. So as you're fusing, make sure to overlap the fusing at the corner so that there aren't any openings even at the corner for little glitter and sequins to leak out. So now you can see what I did. I left my open side at the wrong end from what I wanted to. It honestly doesn't matter, but I like having the actual top of the bookmark be the open spot, and that way I can get a better feel for how it's looking with the sequins in there and stuff. I know. It really doesn't matter. It's all psychological, but I just went ahead and pulled it out and turned it the way I wanted to just for the sake of my sanity. So now you're just going to go ahead and cut around the fuse lines. I cut right along the fuse line and I don't really leave much extra plastic at all. That way it's really clean and neat looking. Just make sure you don't cut, into the fuse line. You want to leave the little fuse line there, but cut around it as close as you can. Okay, so now that it's all cut out, I'd like to just flip it over and fuse around the bookmark on the back side real quick to make sure it's really fused well on both sides. It's possible for it to look fused from the top, but for the back side to not be fused that well actually. So just flip it over. You can run your finger along it and feel how well it's fused. And remember, do it slow and steady, but don't push too hard or linger in one spot for too long. Just keep the little wheel on the fuser tip rolling slowly. So now the bookmark is totally fused on all three sides, and it's time to add your glitter and sequins. Macy picked out these little gold and white stars, so I'm just going to use a spoon to add a little bit of these sequins in here. So I like to add a little at a time and then stop and look and see if it seems like the right amount. So just use your finger to kind of open the plastic and use the spoon to kind of dip them in there and shake it around so they can kind of get down into the bookmark. So I think that's looking really cute. I think I'm actually going to add some tiny little silver glitter because I think it'll be nice to have some glitter and sequins of different sizes in there just to add more interest. And now since her name is stamped on here, I want to add enough sequins and glitter to make it cute, but not really so much that it's actually hard to see her name. So just remember that when you're adding stuff, it's easy to get excited and add way too much and you not be able to see whatever you stamped or put in there, which is okay. If you add too much, you can always dump some of it out before you actually fuse that fourth side. Okay, so that looks like the perfect amount to me. So now it's time to fuse the top of the bookmark so that all of the goodness inside stays there and it looks just the way it's supposed to. Okay, so go ahead and use your little fuse tool to just go right along the top. I'm not going to use a ruler for this because it's such a small amount. You can just go right along the side of the scrapbook paper and then flip it over and do the back side as well. I can feel it and tell that it is fully fused on both sides, so now just trim the extra plastic off the top. Okay, so now we just need to add the little eyelet that the tassel will hang from, and Macy went ahead and chose a yellow eyelet, so let me get it out of this little package right here. These eyelets come in so many different colors, they're so fun. I'll link some of these in the description below the video, but there's so many different color options. I have this really cool tool that I'm going to show you. This tool punches the hole needed for the eyelet and then allows you to set the eyelet. So right here at the top, you pick what size hole you need. These eyelets are 3/16, it says on the package. So you slide the little thing at the top to the 3/16 hole punch. You can see right there that this little thing comes down to punch a hole. Try to line it up the best you can and punch your hole right where you want the eyelet to go. So in the center of the bookmark towards the top. So I'm lining it up and I'm kind of leaning over to make sure I have it exactly where I want it. You totally can mark where you want it, like use a little pin or something to mark the right spot, but line it up and then you're going to punch down to punch the hole right through where you want it. Okay, so there we go. I have punched my hole, it's perfect. Now you just insert the little eyelet through the hole like that. Now you're going to slide the little slider at the top of the little tool over to the far end, and that's how you set the eyelet. So this little tool has great instructions to show you how to use it properly, but you just put the flat side of the eyelet up against the top and squeeze the handle. This tool has little rotating blocks that you can turn if you have different size eyelets or if you have grommets instead, which for those of you wondering, an eyelet is just one little piece like I'm using right now. Grommets have an actual top and bottom piece, so you're using two little pieces at once. So now that the eyelet is done, we just need to make the little tassel. To make this tassel, I'm going to wrap this cute little yellow and white baker's twine around my hand 10 times. Once you've wrapped it around 10 times, then cut the baker's twine. Now I'm going to cut a piece that is about 9 inches long, and I'm going to put that piece through the little tin loops that I have. This is the string that the tassel will hang from, so you're going to go ahead and tie it in a little knot at the ends of the string. Once you've tied the little knot, you want to go ahead and cut the ends really short because we're going to hide this knot inside of the tassel. So cut the ends as short as you can. That way it's easier to hide. Now go ahead and cut another piece of baker's twine that's about 10 to 12 inches long. Take the string we just tied a knot in and turn it so that the knot is inside where the tassel is. That way it's hidden. Now I'm just going to lay the other string that I just cut out on the mat and then lay the tassel parts on top of that string. We're going to use this string to tie the tassel strings together. Wrap the extra ends around the tassel a couple of times and then tie another knot to finish off the tassel. This holds the tassel together. Now you can cut the extra string and cut the ends of the loops. And if you want them to be shorter, you can go ahead and cut them shorter. You just want them to be the same length as each other. Now we're going to tie the string that the tassel hangs from in a knot right above the top of the tassel so that it keeps the tassel from moving around and it stays secured. Now put the twine that the tassel is hanging from through the eyelet. I just put it through like a little luggage tag. So stick the loop through the front of the eyelet and then use the loop that comes out the back to stick the tassel through and pull it up tight. Okay guys, so that's it. We just finished the first bookmark. So I'm going to speed this up even faster as I make 2 more bookmarks for my other daughters. That way if you had any questions from the first run through, hopefully you'll get your questions answered as you watch these next 2. So remember, I just cut my paper down to 2 by 6 inches. You can obviously make your bookmark whatever size you want to. So if you stamp a name or a phrase on the bookmark and one of the letters doesn't show up enough, it's okay. You can dip it in the ink one more time and stamp it again. That's the great thing about the clear stamps and the acrylic block. You can see through the acrylic block and you can see right where you're stamping, which allows you to re-stamp something when needed. This would be next to impossible with regular wood stamps. Now put the paper inside the 2 pieces of fuse sheets, leaving a tiny bit of plastic around the edge. The idea is to use as little of the fuse sheets as possible so that you aren't wasteful. So I wouldn't put the paper in the middle of the fuse sheets. I'm doing it in the corner and leaving a little bit of plastic hanging over to fuse together. This time I'm going to show you how to fuse it without the ruler. Since this paper is right here, you can just use that as a guide and roll the fuse tip right along the border of the paper. Make sure the plastic sheets are really straight and you're not fusing it where there are bumps or anything in the plastic. Now remember, we're going to go ahead and fuse it around 3 sides of the bookmark, leaving one side open. I like to leave the top open, and that way we have a spot to add the sequins and the glitter and all that stuff. Now once you're done, just turn it over and fuse the back side so that we know it's fully fused all the way around. You don't want to put glitter in it and have all the glitter leaking out. Trust me on this one. And I meant to mention this earlier, but when using scrapbook paper to make these bookmarks, I like using double-sided scrapbook paper. That way the back of the bookmark is super cute too. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and add the glitter. So this is Ellie's bookmark. Ellie loves all girly girl stuff. She wanted all of the glitter and all of the sequins that I had in her bookmark. Literally, she wanted all of them. So I'm just going to do little by little and see how it looks. Her main thing was that she wanted pinks and purples, but I don't think there's enough room in this bookmark to use every sequin and glitter that I have. Okay, so I think I have the right amount of glitter and sequins in there, so I'm going to fuse them together. If there are any little pieces of glitter or sequins in the way, go ahead and move them out of the way so that way there's nothing keeping you from fusing it properly. If there's glitter stuck in there, the plastic is not going to fuse together the way that it should. Okay, and I'm going to mark the center with a little cutting tip just to make a little dent so that I know right where the eyelet should go. Ellie wanted a purple eyelet, so let me grab that real quick and then get the eyelet tool. Now remember, first we want to make sure it is set to the 3/16 hole punch, and then we're going to punch the hole in it. Once we punch it, insert the eyelet, and then we're going to set the eyelet. And now Ellie wanted a pink tassel, and this baker's twine is thicker than the yellow baker's twine, so I'm just going to do 6 loops instead of 10 loops. Cut a 9-inch piece, and I'm putting it through the loops and tying it in a knot. Remember, this is the piece that the tassel is going to hang from. Cut the little ends really close and hide the knot inside the tassels. Now go ahead and cut your piece that's 10 to 12 inches long that we're going to wrap around the tassel to secure the tassel. Now just tie a knot at the top of the tassel and the string that the tassel is hanging from, and this keeps the tassel from sliding all around. And now you can go ahead and trim the ends of the tassel to the length that you want them to be. Now we're just going to go ahead and put the tassel through the eyelet, stick the little loop through to the back, and then put the tassel through the loop and pull it up just like a luggage tag like we did last time. And there we go. There is our second little bookmark. If there's any little, extra ends on the knots that you tied, you can trim them to make it look super nice and neat. Okay, so now I'm moving on to my last bookmark for my youngest daughter, Sadie. So as you're making multiple items, you'll definitely get faster and faster at using this tool and making these bookmarks. Now I went ahead and made each of these bookmarks from the beginning to end to make it easier for you to follow along. But if I was just going to make several bookmarks at once and not record it for you guys, I would definitely batch the stages together to make it faster. So I'd cut all the pieces of paper down to 2 by 6 inches. Then I'd go ahead and get my stamps out and stamp all of them at the same time, and then I'd fuse all of them. Things just tend to go much faster when you're batching specific tasks together at the same time. But for the sake of you watching it and it making sense for you, I really just wanted to show you the whole process, kind of from the beginning to the end a few times, just so that you could really get the hang of it and see the whole process laid out in front of you. Okay guys, so here are all 3 of these bookmarks. I think they turned out super cute, but most importantly, my girls love them. I wish I had recorded their reaction when I gave them to them, because you would have thought they won the lottery. So all the bright colors and the sequins and glitter, they love them. The fact that you can kind of shake them around and the glitter moves, it's just so much fun. It's like, what's better than an interactive bookmark? This honestly made them so excited to go grab a book that when I gave them to them, they all went and grabbed books and started reading. So hey, anything that encourages my little girls to read, I am all for. And remember, there are so many options with these. You can stamp whatever you want on there, or you don't have to stamp anything. I actually made one without scrapbook paper, this one, and just used sequins inside, and it's super cute. So it's just a few sheets. I dumped a bunch of sequins in there and then sealed it. And so these sequins are so cute. There's so many fun sequins to choose from. There's like little butterflies in here, and there's little fruit, like little, they're kind of thicker, 3-dimensional strawberries and kiwis and all kinds of fun things. So the options are endless. You can make, obviously you can make masculine bookmarks too. We just live in a really girly house, so all of these right now are really girly. But that's it. These are the bookmarks. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and make sure to subscribe for more videos. And don't forget, I have all these supplies linked in the description below this video. Bye guys.